The wheel uniform changes just like a flock of birds invading a predator. They're flocking this way. Today we're going to be having a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is the Attack Pack Gallimimus. So let's figure how big the Gallimimus is. We'll put the tape measure next to it. It's about 3 inches in height and roughly about 7 inches long. As I mentioned in the last video, we're going to do some comparisons with the other Attack Pack dinosaurs. Oh, the standing on this guy is terrible. I'm going to talk about this in a second, rest assured. There we go. We'll put it with the other dinosaurs that we've had a look at from the Attack Pack. There's the Dimorphodon, which it stands fine. Velociraptor Blue. Velociraptor Green. And the Dimorphodon. There's the 5 of them right there. I don't know if they would say that they are scaled appropriately. The scales are probably a little bit off here and there. The Gallimimus, I feel it could be a little bit bigger, but I mean, from a smaller scale dinosaur that you can get in stores, I've been overly pretty impressed with these. Still my favorite, I would have to say, is the Dimorphodon, but I do really think that all of these turned out really well. Although I will say that there are problems when it comes to the Gallimimus here, specifically with the way it stands. Part of me as a reviewer doesn't even want to move the legs because I've just managed to finally find that sweet spot to get the dinosaur to stand. He is, or she is, next to impossible to actually get standing upright. And ultimately, I didn't even get the feet planted flatly for her to stand. I've just kind of got the back heel supporting it and the front toes supporting it upright. If you try your best at all to get the feet completely flat, you'll find that the dinosaur will fall over a lot. This may have been one instance where I feel like Mattel should have given you a peg on the underside of the foot and maybe at the very least a small display stand could have pegged the dinosaur on top to ensure that the dinosaur wasn't going to fall over. I spent probably about 5 minutes or so trying to get my best to get the dinosaur to stand. And a lot of times the dinosaur just wasn't standing unless I kind of put it in this configuration, this slightly angled front, angled back, and it's resting on so little to get it to stand upright, but that's the best way that I can do it. If you move the head up or you move the arms, it seems anything can kind of offset it and it'll completely topple over. So standing is probably one of the least positive traits that I can make about the Gallimimus here, but I have to admit that the dinosaur looks good. It's one of my favorite scenes from the original Jurassic Park movie where you had the Gallimimus running in flocks and immediately changed direction to flee an oncoming T-Rex, which unfortunately does claim the life of one of the Gallimimus. It is one of my favorite scenes in really most of the movies that I've seen. It's one of my all-time favorite scenes. It's just, you know, Alan Grant running and you've got the Gallimimus running on either side. I really always loved that scene. So wanting to get one of these, or at the very least a dozen of these, and having it displayed with a T-Rex might be a consideration I may have in mind, but I'm going to have to find some better way to get this to stand, because it just will not be successful. The last thing I want is a domino effect, having a good dozen of these on display with a T-Rex, and then one toppling over, hitting the one next to it, hitting the one next to that. It would just be a disaster, and that's even before the T-Rex got a hold of them. It does have the same sort of speckling effect that we've seen very frequently now with the Attack Pack dinosaurs. The coloring is, as best as I can describe it, as almost like a caramel color, a very light caramel color. And then you got the flecks amongst that, almost in a darker brown color. On the top, running from its head all the way down, you have the new additional paint and some additional details there on the dinosaur. But like we've seen with the other Attack Pack dinosaurs, it just sort of abruptly stops at the tail and doesn't continue on. It's a trend that unfortunately I've seen with all of these dinosaurs that I wish it would have continued past the point of the tail. There's a little bit of a lighter color that's been added to the underbelly of the Gallimimus, and you've got, of course, the little T-Rex almost QR code that we will scan in a second. The head is very small, a very small-headed dinosaur here, but they have gone in and painted the eye as well as the little slit of its pupil, and you've got the additional brown around there as well. A lot of that flecks, additional little sprinklings of paint all over the undercarriage, the underbelly, the under neck area there, I should say, of the Gallimimus. It looks good. I only wish it could stand good, which ultimately is not the case. Once again, these are advertised as posable, not super posable, so I'm willing to let them off the hook because their posability, for Gallimimus at least, you can rotate the arms. That's it. The head can hinge back and forth. There is no posability in the top of the head area, so it's really just the neck back and forth. But unfortunately, the neck also can dictate whether the dinosaur stands upright or not. If you lean the neck too far forward, it seems to want to off-balance the dinosaur and it falls. Same thing if you want to have the head too high up. It's, again, just a whole bunch of balancing between getting the legs just appropriately in place and the head in place as well. When you get enough of them lined up and all these, the planets have aligned, you can get yourself the Gallimimus actually standing. Oh, and also the legs hinge back and forth. I almost would have, the fact that you would say that these are posable and then ultimately it just means that the dinosaur has to stand a certain way for it to be balanced. That can kind of be said for the same as the raptor here. The raptor was also a bigger issue as well with it being pre-posed. But it worked for the dinosaur, and at the very least, in the defense of the velociraptor, it had wide enough feet that at least it didn't have any problem not toppling over. I can't say that'd be the same with Gallimimus. Gallimimus, again, it's a lot more of a balancing act than anything else. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this video, you're watching this guy reviewing the toy, and you're thinking to yourself, and you're probably saying aloud, well, it hasn't fallen over for the majority of this video. Why would you say that it's had such a tough time standing? Again, I've got it just in the right placement of the feet. That seems to be the only way I can get it to stand. So very little of it is actually touching the floor, but it's enough that I can get it to balance. And again, I wish, if anything, just make the legs molded, because I'm not going to be able to move the legs anyways to have it in any other pose than what you see currently. They should have just molded the legs to the body and called it a day, because anything else above and beyond that, you're going to have to spend a lot of time, even though it may seem not be the case during this review, but I did spend a lot of time just getting the legs just right for this dinosaur to stand. You guys have also asked, are you going to be having a look at the larger dinosaurs over the course of the next couple of videos? The answer is yes. We're going to have a look at some of the bigger dinos too. And I think when we have a look at the T-Rex, I might bring back Gallimimus here. Not at the level of having a flock of them, but at the very least, I'll bring one in so you guys can see the comparison between the Gallimimus and the larger scale T-Rex. I think the scale still will be off. The T-Rex will probably be considerably bigger than the Gallimimus, but it will kind of remind me of that one of my favorite scenes in movies, the scene in which Grant is being chased, or kind of running amongst the flock of Gallimimus being chased by the giant T-Rex. This is a nice representation of Gallimimus. I just kind of wish it could have stood a little bit better. I know it seems as if it's been standing perfectly fine, but take my word for it. This video has been, in behind the scenes at very least, a very frustrating review in which I just couldn't get the dinosaur to stand. And now, kind of when I've gotten that sweet spot happening, I'm probably not going to touch the legs at all and just completely call it a day. Gallimimus probably could have come with a little small clear stand, something just so that it wasn't going to topple over. At the very least, I would want to get more of these, but I really wouldn't want to go back and get more of these for fear that the dinosaurs aren't going to stand if I ever want to put them out on a big diorama display. So I don't think I would say this is my favorite of the batch. of all the attack packs, which we've now had a look at all of them, my favorite is still the Dimorphodon, or the Dimorphodon. So let me know down below, guys, in the comments section of the attack pack dinosaurs that we've had a look at in the last several reviews. What's your favorite release in the attack packs? Do you like Raptor Blue? Do you like the Dimorphodon? Let me know down below in the comments section. Like I said, we're also going to have a look at some of the larger dinosaurs, so those will be coming in the next couple of videos. And make sure you also hit that little subscribe button as well. That way you'll never miss a beat when new videos are coming up onto this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you next time.